You first told me we're going to talk about trends that will continue there are a ton of negative trends coming in right now. And just one of the things that's happening, all of these bands I've just mentioned, pouring their hearts out, doing whatever they can, developing a catalog, right? A discography.
Right.
And here we got more morons with lesser and lesser original members. Foreigner, anybody? And they're touring like jukeboxes, and they're getting caught with backing tracks that would have killed anybody's career 20 years ago. It did, right? And now we have a new audience, and this is part of the problem, or it's my wake-up call, because I'm going to tell you, we've got an audience that's not there primarily for the music anymore. It's like, I went and saw Foreigner. The hell you ever did? You know, you ever saw Foreigner? Not the Foreigner that wrote and recorded those songs. You know, you got Mick Jones coming up for a 20 to 45 minute set, maybe, and not showing up at other concerts. That makes him a tribute band. I'm not against tribute bands,
but guess what?
But this is the first.
Being the only guy there.
But this is the first time in history that tribute bands are commanding $1,000 and up ticket prices. What the hell?
Exactly.
And another thing that's going to continue is Ticketmaster as a professional scalper, and the bands that are in bed with them are fellow scalpers. I want it to go back to the original scalper, you know, the guy with the tucked up coat going, hey, come here, buddy. I got tickets for you. I'll deal with him. I'll deal with him any day over the bastards that are out there right now. You know?
I bought some tickets. I bought some tickets this year, and I thought I was buying them from the ticket agency, and it turned out that it was somebody that was reselling them. That when the bill came in, it was actually more than what the seats were priced at. You know.
Well, you know what? Everybody that's online watching us right now, ask yourself this: how many of you are going to go and pay a $4,000 ticket to be up front and meet and greet the band, possibly? I have one person, when I did my video that one of several videos that I covered this, and they said, well, actually, because he said for his $8,000 ticket, that included 8 friends and a meet and greet, some wine and whatever. And that's another thing. I realized that that's a corporate ticket, baby. This is corporate bullshit. This is called what I call boutique touring now, and cruise ship touring. Oh, thank you, Kiss. Then that's another thing. He's talking about there's going to be Kiss one day with 4 brand new members. See, Kiss is now a brand. It's like, who's drawing Thor for the next 7 years at Marvel? Right?
Right.
Does that make sense to anybody? People are lining up. It's a different crowd out there, folks. I covered the Smashing Pumpkins, Billy Corgan's brand new album. He's giving hints that he wants actors on stage. This is no longer a rock concert. This is a different kind of event. Either I got to wake up and smell the coffee with my wristband, a part of the light show. See that coming, folks? Bullshit. This is and what are we not talking about here? Well, we're not talking about brand new albums by these gluttons. No, we're not talking about new music. We're talking about more, and here's another trend for you, Royce: more box sets, more remixes, more. Here's a show from Neil Young you never thought you'd ever listen to because we couldn't shove it down your throat fast enough before. All right, and vinyl is going to continue. There's another trend. It's going up, but so CDs are making a comeback. So what do you do? People want things. I think people are getting tired of everything in the cloud. You know.
You listen to a lot of stuff that the younger people are listening to nowadays. It's all produced, synthesized crap. I mean, to me it is. I like to go see a concert where they're just got their instruments And they're doing it, you know.
And they're playing it as they can with the members they have, right? That's why we used to love Led Zeppelin. And I like it when a band doesn't sound like the record. Okay, that's what, but I'm a musician and I understand. I'm not your average concert goer. Your average concert goer aren't musicians, they're fans. And but even 20 years ago, your average concert goer, again, not musicians, fans, hung people out to dry for using backing tracks. Right. Tommy Lee sits down and the drums start before his butt hits the drum phone. Vince, the same band has members saying, we hate people who use backing tracks, and yet we find that even Vince Neil's tracks have been massaged from behind. Okay? All right? I did a whole video of several bands that have been busted doing this, and I also stated there is a time where backing tracks are okay. Like, for example, you got an artist and he loops live in front of you. That becomes a backing track, right? As soon as he's looped that first line and then he adds the bass player. But that's the performance. I love that, okay? Or if a band has a church bell at the beginning of a song, all right, and they have a recording of that church bell or a storm, or something like that, I guess I'm okay with that. I saw The Who do Quadrophenia, and I heard stuff coming that wasn't on stage, but the basic music was being played in front of me, right? So there is a level where it's okay, and it's not okay. But lip syncing, and you know what? We've got fat, drunken, old men called Motley Fool, trailer trash rock band of the century, right? And they can't even freaking play live, and everybody can't get enough. Nobody can get enough of that band. You know what? Another one of my viewers in the latest comment on my new video, he said he didn't mind if guitar techs were playing I saw that with the first live comeback of Fleetwood Mac. You could tell they were playing the majority of the stuff there, but there were guitar techs, there were backup singers in the background and everything, and I didn't like that, right? But at least if you're going to have those people, quit hiding them, bring them out, give them some sunshine, show us what's going on. You know,
their studio guy right up there with them.
Right. Now, those fools those people never fool musicians. We know that Robert Plant shaking the tambourine while Jimmy's going nuts and Robert's supposed to shut up. We're not hearing the tambourine, right? It's not being mic'd. But it's a thing he's just doing probably to keep his own rhythm, to keep him in groove with what's happening, because they were a jam band, despite the fact that nobody considers, Led Zeppelin a jam band, but they were, basically. They fit the criteria perfectly.
The improv that took place, and the guitar playing, drums, and
But this whole thing, Stevie Nicks up there shaking something you can't hear, that's show business. And that's okay. That's okay, but bring out the people, if you've got Lindsey Buckingham being doubled for a harmony piece, bring out the guy, let it, I just want more honesty.
Social awareness taking place, and they're saying one of the things that's going to be changing is a greater emphasis on social issues going forward in the music that's being made. So that it'll be interesting to see if that plays out anything like what we've seen in the past.
What's that mean?
What?
A greater emphasis on social issues for the music.
Yeah, things that are going on that people aren't happy about in the country. And that stuff can start playing out more and more in the music that we're going to be hearing.
You mean like
injustices. Artists using their platforms to raise awareness about important issues and promote positive change.
Oh, I see. Okay, so that's what they were doing in the 60s, man. Yeah. Right?
Yeah. Okay, so really, first of all, I've done a couple of videos on this bullshit.
That's what I'm trying to get out here.
All right.
Bullshit,
so first of all, I am a complete advocate of freedom of speech.
Right.
I buy music and always have by artists who I do not agree with politically.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
I 100% of my soul supports an artist's right to put that out, and
Absolutely. Yeah.
an equal opportunity to get it out to be heard. Then he or she need to shut their freaking mouths and play their music and let their art speak for them and get the freak out of politics. I'm tired of it. And you know what? I've used a couple of people, and I don't even think about sides when I make my videos. I just chose the loudest mouths that were in my head. But I got a few people saying, oh yeah, well, you don't like the left, obviously, blah, blah, blah. I want it clear, because I've never gotten to say this on video. I want Ted Nugent to shut his pie hole, okay? I'm not just against Roger Waters or Bruce Springsteen preaching. I mean, their shows have become induction centers to me. Yeah. And I don't want to hear Ted Nugent's side of the story either. Sing it in a song, Ted. I want my gun, baby, I want my gun. I'll buy it and I'll make up my mind. But you know what? But you know what? When you have Bruce Springsteen getting upset that the right embraced born in the USSA, that to me, that's sour grapes, man. You know, every songwriter on the planet knows if you put something out there, it's no longer yours. The Beatles would say that. Paul and John both said that, you know, once you put it out there, it's out there. And we need to let it.
None of that stuff's going to work nowadays. None of that stuff's going to work nowadays.
No, everybody's looking for a new guru these days, Richie.
It worked back then, but it's not going to work now. I guarantee you.
No, that's the way I look at music, especially albums by people in pop and rock and blues and everything. That's their art. That's their painting that they've given us, and it really became a painting with. Actually, Frank Sinatra did it in the 50s. He beat the Beatles. But the first big act to put out an album that would be just nothing but an album, that was the Beatles, and it was called Rubber Soul. They did that album with no intentions other than to do this to make it sound like within itself. It was to be taken for the first time in rock and roll as an entire work of art. And from that time on, those albums, and I think that's part of the why people are still into vinyl, Richie, is because they've got these really nice, large, you know, that's almost the size of a painting. People now, I just saw an article, millennialists are actually more responsible for the growth in vinyl than our generation. Okay, they're actually buying most of the vinyl right now, or at least whatever percentage, you know, however they figure it. But and what they like to do is place their album art on the wall. They've got special mounts, they can change it, and they just love the experience. And I think that's what's happened.
Albums, you know. He wallpapered his whole wall with albums. It was really cool looking, you know.
And here's another thing. I think there's the problem with CDs is you can put 2 albums on a CD, you know, practically, right? But it's also a one-way thing. You put it in, no matter how beautiful the artwork is, it's smaller, first of all, but you put it in, you never see it while it plays. All right. So it goes out of your head, but it's also one way. And by one way, I mean, you never have to flip to side 2. There is something about picking up a record, flipping it. It's not just the aesthetics. It does something to your mind, especially if this is a piece of art in your head. You're going, now I need to see the lower half of the painting. It's almost that. All right. That's why
I can totally relate, Michael.
That's why when we were kids, we'd sit huddled on the floor with our albums going, look, who is this guy? I don't know who this guy is, you know? And they go, oh, that's Brian Jones. He's from the Rolling Stones. Oh, well, why is he on this album? You know, and poring over it. and listening for different things each time you listen to it. It's like reading, people who love to read poetry, people who want to go to the Louvre and experience the masters in person. That's our art. That's our art. And you purchase it and you place it on a pedestal, don't you?
Absolutely.
Right?
If you have a nice turntable and a nice system, there's nothing better than vinyl. There's nothing better.
Because when you get to it, when you get down to it, and you get all the nuts and bolts down, vinyl versus CD, CD is superior. It's got a lot more headroom, blah, 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 blah. And the warm sound you're hearing, I've done research, is actually distortion. And I have this whole idea. We've been scratching on the walls since we were cavemen, right? Painting on the walls, scratching on the walls, grooving into our temples, right? And that's what the record is. It's a groove. We've cut into this thing. We are still, and the scraping, is it in our genetic makeup? Because the scraping that we've heard for eons, as we've done our art, it has to be in what we're hearing. And I think that's one of the things that people are hearing in vinyl. That warm, it's almost like going back to the womb, I'm safe again.
When the needle hits the vinyl, you just miss that,
There's something to everything you just said, because there's nothing like it. I'll bring home 4 new albums or 4 used albums, whatever, and I'll sit out there. First I'll bring them in and clean them. Even the new ones I'll clean,
Mm-hmm.
I'll sit out there and I'll listen to them one side after another, and it's you get up, you have to walk over to the machine, and
yes.
Over. Going to turn it off temporarily or pause or whatever, flip it over, start it up, restart it. Try not to scratch anything. Try not to.
Right. You're involved. You're invested in your art, Royce, right there.